Hello. Some takeaways I learned from my two journal examples was that observations can vary every time because that my particular teacher might have a different lesson plan when every time you arrived in a certain hour. It varies. It always varied and depended on what time you arrived to your observation hours and how you viewed the classroom setting in that particular time. So when observing my both journals, one of the questions that I had was that within the classroom, how how are the students' work and identity represented within the class? In my in here I have in these two journals I talked about and observed on how Dia de los Muertos and Mexican culture was presented throughout the whole classroom setting, and during other observation times it was artwork was removed and replaced to make way to new artwork. Seating arrangements was different all the time depending on the student's behavior in class and materials. Overall, the materials that when I observed from uh, um, during during the time I was there, both journals detail that all materials were in Spanish and English format, and the content was both as well Spanish and English. They used some of the technology that they use that I learned was that teachers implement Prodigy Points some way. It's a program that helps students maintain good classroom behavior in the setting, and that technology is very vital for teachers because it enhances students um, learning. They use a lot of technology such as Think Central, word processing applications, Google Drive, PowerPoints. I was so impressed on how students were getting at the current technology that is occurring in today's world. Um, the student behavior over time when observing changed. Sometimes they were humble, attentive, respectful, and occasionally sometimes weren't working well. And I realized that sometimes students might have difficulty of learning, so they try to put this behavior to the teacher, so they seem tough and to show that they they don't know. They put that attitude or behavior so the teacher can get more attention to that particular student. But every time I visited and observed was that the teacher was very professional, always had a good firm voice when talking to students, and communication and dialogue was well established with student relationships that the teacher built on throughout um, throughout his throughout this fall semester. Another takeaway that I learned was that students sometimes don't display any hesitance when asking for help on assignments when they actually need it. So I find it very vital that students must work together and collab together in order for them to learn and process the content that's provided in provided in the class. I saw various student leadership. I saw a student once helped the host teacher because he dropped his he he dropped coffee, and the student immediately went to go get some paper towels and went clean, and the teacher was doing his lesson in front of the whole class, and the student took initiative to clean that up and went back to his seat and took notes and asked questions. I was very impressed on his student leadership. Staffing in Ewing Elementary was very professional, and mostly all the um, staffing and administrators were very diverse and had good personality. Every time I arrived there, they seemed friendly and central. Another takeaway I learned is that you as a teacher it's very important for the teacher to um, for the teacher to engage with the students and show that he has comprehension and passion for teaching, and that you really want to help that student with his needs and accommodations. Another thing I learned was that as a teacher you have to dress professionally, because that carries yourself on how the students view you as the adult and the teacher. And overall, when reflecting on my journals and reviewing them, I was surprised that every time I observed, um, there was different student behaviors and class lessons implemented, and how students really wanted to learn and participate in class lessons. Um, Overall, from writing for writing this journal, I find it that very impactful that teachers and school administrators take a big role in how student education is being placed in Fresno and various other schools here. And that's some of the takeaways I learned from my journals, from my journal.